And we are live. Good afternoon. It's lunchtime. And I'm so excited that you're here with me today. And we are going to talk a lot about our March 1 plan for 1 month. And I'm hoping that you're going to be right here because we're going to talk about what's going to be on the menu list. We're going to talk about our grocery shopping plan. We're going to talk about how it may change because we're moving into spring. We're also going to take a look at a very important topic even before we get to the plan. And that is the fact that we are purchasing groceries, we are preparing meals, and I'd be willing to bet you that if you went into your refrigerator like mine, you would find things that are sitting there that you're trying so hard to use up, and we want to eliminate as much food waste as we possibly can. So those are going to be some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So hello, those of you who are coming in, just have a seat at the lunch table and let's have a good time. Hello, Christina. Good to see you. Hello, Emma and Deb. We're glad to have you this Monday morning. And I'm glad to be back home and in my regular spot and doing the things that I normally do because all of that's a lot of fun. Now, like I said, we have a lot that we're going to be talking about today, and you'll see me reaching over every now and then because I do have some notes that I'm trying to make sure of, things that I want to make sure that I've covered with you, because as home cooks that we have to be very purposeful and very intentional about the things that we do. And the last thing we want to do is to waste money. And we don't want to waste time and money. Those are the two very important things in our lives, and our lives as well as our families' lives. And we are also setting examples for those who are coming after us so that they can see how we were able to navigate time and money with respect to what goes on here in the kitchen. And there's a lot that goes on here in the kitchen. So I am just so glad to have all of you here. Now, like I said, we're going to start first thinking about being smart. All of us want to be smart. And I don't know about you, every now and then I think, well, I might be a little smart. And so as we think about being smart, I am applying this to myself as a home cook because, before I can present it to you, I have to do an in the mirror look at myself, and I have to recognize where I'm falling short. And I also have to consider the fact that it may be that if I'm falling short with that, it may be somebody else is also doing the same thing. So we're going to be taking a look at that. Now, keep this in mind. The whole purpose for our one plan for 1 month is to be able to provide for our family, to give us an opportunity of being able to come together as a group, do it as a family, build our family up, and also encourage and set an inspirational moment for those who are sitting around that table. So that's our ultimate goal. And I have found, whether it's here at home, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's at church, whether it's at a school, it doesn't matter. When you come together over food at a table and everyone is there, that is a good opportunity for us to be able to bring in a loving way, all kinds of good ideas. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we really want to be able to do. So All right, a couple of things to keep in mind is that as we're moving into the month of March, we are quickly approaching spring. Some of us are being fortunate enough to experience a few days of spring here and there. I know we certainly have. We've had some warm days and it's been nice. And so, as we're thinking about that, when you go into the grocery store, you're going to be looking for some particular items. And there are going to be some things that you're going to see that are going to be new. And if not totally new, they should be on the very fresh end because it's their season. And that's one thing I try to do when I'm shopping is that I'm looking for those fruits and vegetables that are in season because that's when they're going to have their peak taste and they're going to be perfect. And so we want those vegetables to be perfect. All right, so let's take a look at those things that are coming into season. All right, so I'm going to do this. So we're going to look at March. We're going to have a starting point and see if we can move through some of this fairly easily. Now, when we're looking at our one plan, 1 month, now I offer to you a suggested master plan for me. And those are at least 25 items that I am suggesting to you. And typically put this in the newsletter. Those who get the newsletter are going to see it first. And certainly, if there's something in my suggested master list that you change, you just draw a line through it, throw in whatever it is that your family likes. For instance, I may not have taco night every month. Even though for some families, I know that on Tuesday they do Taco Tuesday. And so, whether it's Taco Tuesday or Mexican Tuesday, whatever you want to call it, but they do some type of Mexican dish on Tuesday nights. And so, for us, pizza night is usually Friday night. Excuse me. So, we usually try to do something that's pizza related on Friday night. Now, that may not be your family's plan. You may have Friday is fish night. And so you will plug that in to the master plan so that you can add that to it. Now, I've also suggested that you have 5 in the month of March, you're going to have 5 leftover nights. That means that once a week, each week, you're going to have a leftover night. Now, I typically use Thursday as my leftover night because the weekend comes Saturday and Sunday. To be honest with you, I either bring dinner in or we go out to dinner, typically on Sunday, particularly. And Friday, like I said, is pizza night. So I usually plan for at least 4 to 5 meals a week. And one of those nights is going to be leftover night because I know there's going to be some kind of leftover. Now, leftover night does not have to be um, the night that you decide that you want to just take it the way it is and rewarm it and put it in front of your family or offer it to your family. Leftover night may be that you decide to do something creative and turn it into a round 2 recipe using what you have in your refrigerator and creating a new dish. It may be that if you have enough vegetables in there that really need to be used in a day or so, that's a great time to put together some type of soup or stew. And if you have some meat that's sitting in the refrigerator, that's a great time to bring the meat and the vegetables all together, make a delicious stew, serve it with rice or with potatoes, and that gives you a round 2 meal for leftover night. So leftover night doesn't mean that I'm going to go in the refrigerator and let's see, I know I've got some leftover green beans. And so that doesn't mean that the green beans are going to show up just the way they did the first time I prepared them. It means that we're going to do something maybe new and creative if we have time. And certainly and you know, with leftovers, that particular meal is going to come together very quickly because the items that you're using are already cooked. So it's a matter of putting it together, allowing the heat to work and to marinate all those flavors together. And that's going to be a quick night. And that's going to be a very easy recipe and one that you will want to jot down what you did, because if it becomes your family's most desired recipe, then hey, you want it on paper. So you can remember next month, oh, that worked. So you might want to try that again for one of your leftover nights. All right. So then after you've gotten your main dishes all together, you got them all here, and I still have a few yet to add that I'm thinking about. I haven't quite decided what those last ones are going to be. But what I'm going to do is to go back and look at February. And I'm going to look at my February master list. And if there's anything in that February master's list that I did not prepare, then it's going to be added to this list. And the good thing about that is that you know those items that you're adding from February, you already have all of the ingredients ready to go. So you may even want to put them at the top of your list if you're copying this down and into your planner, which is we'll take a look at that and see what we do as well. But what I do, I've got my main dishes, and I also have my grocery list. And so what I do is that I put them side by side. I look at each item. I write down whatever is necessary to prepare that dish. Write it all down, all of the ingredients. Do that first. So your list might be a little lengthy to begin with, but then you'll go back and with a pen, as you're walking, let's see, you'll go to your pantry and you'll say, okay, I already have, or your refrigerator, whichever you decide to do first. Like one dish, I'm doing Leah Chase's red beans and rice from her recipe book, Down Home Healthy, because I tried to develop recipes and ideas that I know will be pretty healthy for the family. And I'm going to do them in a very healthy way. And so I know I'm going to need red beans, and I can decide when I get to the store, am I going to do them fresh or am I going to do them dry? Now, if I'm going to do them, if I'm thinking I want to really save money, then I'm going to buy them dry. And then that way I just have to rehydrate them, cook them, and then prepare the dish from there. And so beans are always a great staple to have on hand. So if you have a few too many, it's good. You just put them in a mason jar that you can keep them in and have them ready to go for the next meal. And that's whether it's red beans, whether it's pinto beans, whether it's white beans, whether it's cannelli beans, whatever kind of beans it is, garbanzo beans, you know, whatever. Now, I need ramen noodles, a noodle bowl. And so I already know I need that. So I'm going to have to go over there in the pantry and check and see if somewhere in that pantry I might have some ramen noodles. And I do believe I do, but I don't think I have enough. So that means this item stays on the list. And that's something I need to pick up. Now, I did check for one of the suggestions is a French onion pork chop. And that French onion pork chop is baked. It's done in about 15 to 20 minutes. And, it's a short, easy, delicious um, recipe. And so, because of that, you want to um, make sure that I've got fresh onions. I have some, but I'm going to need more for the month because just about everything on this list is going to need a little onion. I already know that. Now, so onions are always on my grocery list, whether no matter what, I just know to pick up an extra bag of onions. This month, I'm going to show you how to make homemade sauerkraut. It's March, Ides of March. We got to do a few little um, Irish recipes, and certainly sauerkraut is one of those items. So we're going to be making some homemade sauerkraut. And so I need to make sure that I have plenty of cabbage so that I can do that. And I'm also going to make a cabbage soup. And it's not your typical cabbage soup. Remember back in the day when you used to prepare the cabbage soup that you could eat all you wanted, to fill up, and you lost weight? Well, this is not that soup, but it is very healthy. So cabbage soup is going to be a part of our menu as well. Now, so cabbage, I know I'm going to need multiple heads of cabbage. Lettuce, because I want a good salad. We're going to take a look. We're going to delve into the big salad. What are the components? All those good things. We're going to be looking at that. So I know I need all of those items that will be necessary for the big salad because those are fresh items. And I probably won't pick those up until the week I plan to do it. And so maybe even that day that I'm going to do it earlier in the day, I'll pick those up so that I know they're absolutely fresh. And so, but we're going to be doing a variety of different big salads so that you can take a look and then you can decide for yourself which one works for you and for your family. Um, I have a dish that's on this list that is called, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Oh, Leah Chase has a chicken Creole. Um, it's really more like a stir fry. And, but it comes together in less than 30 minutes and it is delicious. And so I'm going to do her 30-minute chicken Creole one night. And so I know I need to make sure, I need to check my seasonings to make sure that I have the seasonings that I need. I also need to make sure that I like to use, sometimes you have odd pieces of chicken. I use a lot of chicken thighs. I use a lot of chicken breasts. And sometimes when you buy them typically buy family packages. So I may have one breast sitting over in the freezer or a couple of thighs sitting in the freezer. And so what I'm going to do is to pull those out, cut them into 1.5-inch cubes. And then that way I can put them into the dishes as they come. Because with exception of one dish, most of the chicken dishes this month involve those types of things where we can use up those things that are sitting in our freezer because we don't want them to go past spring. We want to be able to rotate and to use most of them so that we can make space for fresh food. You know what? I realized when I went out to the freezer that I still have a turkey in my freezer. So I have to make sure this month, or at least the 1st of April, that turkey gets used because I don't want to keep it any longer than that. So it's going to have to be thawed. It's going to have to be marinated. It's going to have to be spatchcocked. And rather than spatchcock, I may even put it into pieces. And then that way I can cook a few pieces and have some for later. But we want to make sure, I want to make sure that I have used that up. And I don't know how many of you may have some turkey lurking in your freezer that you have left over from the holidays and maybe you didn't use up. And so we're going to find things to do with those. And so that helps to save time and also save money. So you'll want to add that to your list as well. So we have to make sure that we're shopping our pantry. And Lord have mercy, I got a video for you because I'm spring cleaning. I'm spring cleaning here in the kitchen. I did all the walls and I did my cabinets, and I started to put some decor around, and then I opened up my pantry and went, oh geez. Well, we can't be, we aren't perfect. That's the thing. We are just aren't perfect. And so my pantry needs a little doctoring. And so I'm going to be going into that pantry. And yes, I'm going to be using it to prepare my shopping list. But I'm going to have to circle back around, and we're going to have to go into that pantry and do a little straightening, because what happened? What happened? Oh my gosh. What happened to that pantry? Something happened. And it looks like a bomb went off. And I'm not quite sure how it happened. You know how those kind of things happen, just gradually. And you just don't even realize it because you're so busy doing everything else. So we're going to have to go back in the pantry and give it a little love and get it straightened up. So we're going to be doing a 15-minute of that. Now, then let me pull this up. We are going to each week. Okay, here's the week coming up. This is our weeknight meal, Sunday through Saturday. And I've already put in what's going in for this week so that we can, so that I know that I have everything here. If there's anything particularly special, seafood, I may not buy that too far in advance. Most of the time I try to just go out and pick it up and use it immediately. But there are going to be some things that are on this list I already know that I have in the freezer ready to go. So you will take your master list. You will decide which of those you're going to put into your weeknight meals, which is exactly what I've done. And I even pulled one of those from February that I didn't get to, and I popped it on this week. So I already have those things here. So I won't actually grocery shop probably until this weekend coming up, because I want to make sure, number one, that I have plenty of room for everything. And number two, I kind of want to do a little refresh on that pantry. And so that gives us an opportunity. So I'm going to come out of this for just a second, and let's see what everybody's talking about. Let's see who's here. Oh, good. We've got Emma. Emma's here. Hello, hello. We've got Christina who's with us. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so glad you're with me. We've got Deb. Hello. Happy Monday. We are blessed to be here. Michelle is with us, and I'm so glad to see you, Michelle. Sue is here. Good to see you. Miss Pollard is here. And no sound. Are none of you getting sound? Let's see. Maybe I need to cut it up. Okay, is that better? Is the sound better? I didn't think I had lost it. Okay, Christina says she has sound. Okay, that's good. She has sound. All right. I did turn it up. Nitty T is with us. Emma is here. She said she plans her leftover meal as it's normally the leftover meat from a roast on Sunday, which she plans to make something else. Absolutely. When you can, whether it's a chicken, whether it's a beef roast, whether it's a pork roast, you're probably going to have some leftovers. And that gives, certainly, Emma, gives you a chance to create something new and something fun for your family. Sue said that she remembers that popular 0-calorie cabbage soup. I tell you what, I made pot after pot after pot of that 0-calorie soup. And you know why? The big guy loves cabbage. And he loved that cabbage soup because, remember, it had tomatoes, and he's such a tomato guy. Between the cabbage and the tomatoes, he was set. That was just his perfect soup. So, that was one of those things. But you don't see that as much today as we used to. Oh, Christina says she has a turkey that she needs to use too. I know. If you're like me, I bought two. I figured I better buy two just in case. And I thought what I had thought was that I would use one, and my daughter, who's about 5 minutes away, if she needed an extra turkey, she could have it. Their family's larger. But as it turned out, she didn't. She did the same thing I normally do, and she bought two. So we didn't have to do that. Michelle said, speaking of Creole, have we tried Mrs. Mickey Spices? She's from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Let me jot that down. Mrs. Mickey Spices. Everybody write that down. Mrs. Mickey's. Mrs. Mickey's Spices. No, I have not. It's the first time I've seen her. And she's from Fort Bragg. Familiar place. My son was, I think, passed through there. She met her at a Wilmington farmer's market, and you could order from her site, and she's also on Amazon. Okay, well, I'll look her up. We'll have to try that and see if we like it, and go from there and give her some love. So we'll show her some love. Mrs. Mickey, I'll add her when I get there. Okay, Sue says she has sound. Okay, it looks like everyone's good at this point, and you are getting sound. Okay, that's great. That's great. That's the main thing. I want you to be able to hear. And so, anyway, let's get back to what we were doing. So we're going to pick and choose the meals for the week. We're going to write them down. Now, you're going to see the main meal plan that's going to be coming this week to you. And then you can take it and work it. Do what you need to do with it. And these are suggestions. And certainly, if you've been with me for a while, you've got this March and you've got last March that you can kind of play around with and see what the difference is and add to your list. Now, as we're thinking about our ideas as far as eating is concerned, we want to make sure this month that we are eating healthy and that we're serving healthy meals to our family. So what we're going to do is that we are going to try to incorporate as many vegetables and fruits into our diet. We're going to be intentional. First of all, we're going to eat those items that are in season. So I'm going to go down real quick. And for those of you, I've already put this in the newsletter for tomorrow. But for some of you are not newsletter recipients, so you may not know, and you may want to jot some of this down. But this month alone, first, let's start with fruits and vegetables. These are going to be the things that you want to look for when you're walking in the grocery store. And let me give you a tip. First of all, make sure that you have eaten before you go into the grocery store. Ah, because the whole plan is to be able to shop for what we need and not to put things in our basket just because we're hungry. You know, when we're hungry, everything smells good, everything looks good, but we want to be intentional, and we do not want to bring home things that we really don't necessarily need. And after we leave the grocery store, we really don't even want, but we buy it because we were hungry at that time and it just looked like a good thing to have in the basket. All right, so keep that in mind. Eat first. Make sure that you've eaten before you get into the store. Now, vegetables in season for March. We've got blackberries. Oh, this is blackberry season. It's just cool enough, just warm enough for those blackberries to be beautiful. And I don't know about where you are, but I know we are having unseasonably warm weather. So I'm expecting to be able to find beautiful blackberries that are going to be very tasty. Tasty. Christine, I'm with you. You know, it is a dangerous place. And if I take the big guy, if he goes with me in the grocery store and he's hungry, I promise you, there's going to be way too much in that basket by the time we get up to the front, because he's going to find all kinds of things to put in that basket that he thinks he needs. And it may end up sitting in the pantry for heaven knows how long. So we're going to try not to do that this month. All right, so we've got blackberries. Now, how many of you have cooked with blood oranges? Now, I have never known to, now some people might, I'm not going to say they don't, but I have never just eaten a blood orange, just, you know, taken orange, peeled it and eaten it um, as a, um, you know, as a fruit to eat. For instance, I've got cara here, and I can peel this, I can eat this, and it's fine. But my blood orange, I typically slice those and use them in cooking. Now, there are delicious recipes for blood oranges. There is a blood orange and salmon saute that you take your blood orange juice and you put it down into your pan with your olive oil and your seasonings. And then you add your either salmon or whatever seafood that you like into that pan and let it start to just kind of get nice and saucy. And it is so good. So blood oranges are delicious for seafood, and I've also tried them with steak. So that gives you an opportunity. Okay, hold on one second. Michelle said that okay, she tagged me in a comment on one of Ms. Mickey's posts on Instagram. Okay, okay, that sounds good. That sounds good, Michelle. I will take a look at Mrs. Mickey's on Instagram and check out her Creole seasonings. That's always delicious, and it's always nice to be able to help someone else. So let's do that. We're going to go to Mrs. Mickey's. Now, Granny Smith apples. Let me tell you, this is the time to buy that Granny Smith apple. And they are, you know, Granny Smiths have that tendency to be a little tart. But when they're in season, then they're going to have that tartness, but they're going to be a little sweet. And so you'll want to find things to do besides just eat them. I love to eat them, just slice them up and eat them. But Granny Smith apples with peanut butter, Granny Smith apples in your, if you're going to have pork, put those Granny Smith apples in there. And of course, they're delicious with an apple as an apple pie. So, Granny Smith apples, they're in season. If you like green Anois pears, they're delicious, whether you're cooking them or whether you're eating them fresh. And so I love pears. Heirloom tomatoes are a hot item this month. So be on the lookout if you like heirloom tomatoes. You know, I'm a tomato nut, so I'm going to be looking for those. Lemons, you're going to see Myers lemons. You're going to see all kinds of lemons this month. And this is a great time to be able to pick up some extra lemons and do something fun, whether it's a lemon pound cake, a lemon icebox pie, a lemon cream pie, or just lemon over your salad. Lemon, 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 because lemon's so nutritious for you. Mango, throw in, slice them up, add some mango to your salad. It's delicious. Pineapple. This is a good month for pineapple. And in fact, when I was in Aldi's, I think it was last week, they had a ton of pineapple. And when I brought it home, I waited a couple of days and then got into it. That was the best tasting pineapple I've had in a while. So, pineapple is one of those seasonal vegetables for the month of March. Who knew? How about that? Now, did you know that March is the prime time for pecans? Now, I say pecans, some people say pecans, and I think it's either pecans or pecans, whichever it is. But this is a good time that if you are near a farmer's market or in that area where pecans are grown, this is the time to pick up your pecans, pick them up by pounds, put them in good sealed bags, and put them in your freezer. And then that way you can just take them out, use them when you want them. That's if you're not sensitive to pecans. Now, some people are sensitive. And so that may not be your thing, your nut to be able to use. Let's get to those vegetables. Yummy, yummy, yummy. There's going to be some great vegetables. How many of you like bok choy? I love bok choy. And, you know, we went over to the Asian market and they had trays. I've never seen so many little bok choys in one place. And they had the little small ones and they had those that were a little larger, depending upon what you were going to do with them. And so bok choy is at its prime during this month, going into the month of March. And you know, this is cool weather vegetables. So broccoli, this is a time to get some good broccoli. Brussels sprouts, we want to be able to get those into our diet. Buttered lettuce is delicious and it's great to add to your big salad. And you know, butter lettuce is a little bit pricey, so you can add it with some other lettuces or some other items so that you don't have to use the whole little head, and it is a little head, a whole head of butter lettuce just for one salad. You can get multiple uses out of it. Celery. Now, I am so hoping that the celery this month is going to be delicious because, you know, I have complained about the fact that we were getting little stalks that look like pencils and they just didn't look good. They didn't look good. And to be honest with you, they didn't taste good. When you slice them, it was like eating a tree. And so I am hoping that the celery certainly improves. I do like chickpeas. And I like to make hummus with chickpeas. This is the month to be able to get fresh chickpeas, to be on the look for those. And Cosmic Crisp apples. Now, you may not be able to find it at your Cosmic Crisp apples at your neighborhood grocery store, but places like Kroger, some of the larger stores, Kroger's, Wegmans, Whole Foods, even Trader Joe's, they're probably going to get in some Crisp apples. Cosmic Crisp is not as well known as Honeycrisp, but they're cousins and they are sweet like Honeycrisp apples are the envies. The envy apple is also a cousin of Honeycrisp, and they're delicious. They are absolutely delicious. If you like fennel, this is a good time to purchase enough fennel to be able to use. It's one of those things that you're not going to want to you won't want to purchase a bunch. You're going to want to purchase it, use it. Purchase it, use it right then. Uh, Green peppers. Now, green peppers you can buy in mass. You can dice them, slice them, however you want them, put them into your freezer, and have green peppers to be able to cook with. Ginger. Ginger is healthy. And so many of us are making those healthy drinks. Don't forget the ginger, to add the ginger to your healthy drink. Kale. I love kale. Now, everybody doesn't, but kale is another item that you can throw into your drink, your morning drink, your green drink. Spinach is in season, and it's another item that you can throw into your morning drink. And when the vegetables are in season, their prices are better. So you want to be on the lookout for those. Their price is going to be better. Their flavor should be better. All of that. Now, leeks are not something that I use a lot of, but I do occasionally use leeks. They're in season this month. Jalapenos are in season this month, as well as parsley. And keep this in mind. You can purchase mass quantities of parsley. You can dry it and put it into a mason jar and keep it so that you have your own dried parsley. I even sometimes freeze it. And that way I can break off what I want in there and add it into whatever I'm cooking with. Portobello mushrooms. This is the season for portobello mushrooms, as well as turmeric. So that brings in some of those items that are more spicy. So you've got such a variety. It's a beautiful time. Spring just brings about so much when it comes to vegetables. And asparagus are coming. And we're going to be able to get beautiful asparagus. And so during that time period, you want to eat as much asparagus as you can. And it's just healthy for you. So keep in mind that your best way to start eating healthy is to eat your seasonal fruits and vegetables. You're going to get the most bang for your buck. And I think you'll enjoy that. So we've got our seasonal vegetables and some things too to keep in mind. I went in a store this past weekend and I was just checking out some of the expiration dates. And I'll tell you what brought me to this. Now, hold on. Let me make sure I have everything I planned. Oh, okay. I was supposed to show you that, but I forgot. But I'll keep those up. Here's our seasonal vegetables, our seasonal fruits, and our seasonal vegetables. Now, is that as you go in the store, look closely at your expiration dates and see if it reads it expires, say, March 10th. And you usually see expiration dates for things like milk, cheese, cottage cheese. I like cottage cheese, lettuce and onions, good salad, um, and a boiled egg with that, and just put it all together. Oh, delicious salad. Throw a little Italian dressing on it, and you're good to go. Now, but sometimes the expiration dates are a little misleading because we're thinking that if that date strikes, that blindly we should go grab the container and throw it away. And according to the Food and Drug Association, don't do that. Don't do that. They said that is they're giving you kind of a baseline to be able to look at that item. It depends on your storage conditions. All refrigerators are not necessarily created equal. Some refrigerators are better than others. If you happen to store something farther back, deeper into your refrigerator versus storing it in the front, then those things that are in the back are going to last longer because it's colder back there. So when that March 10th comes, it's probably fine. And they suggest you use your nose and use your eyes. Don't pour it immediately into the dish that you're going to, if it's close to that expiration date, whether it's before it or whether it's after. Put it into a container where you can take a look at it and where you can smell it. Do the sniff test and see whether or not it's still good, because we don't want to waste. We don't want to waste our food. We don't want to waste our food. Now, I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. Now, also, you will see best use by dates. Those are estimates. And typically, they give you a wide range for being able to look at that product and decide whether or not it's still usable. For instance, you usually see best used by, I'm going to say March 10th. I'm on a March 10th thing. March 10th. And it may be a can of tomatoes. And so maybe it had been sitting. It's really the best use is more for the grocer than for you. Most canned goods can go at least 2 to 3 years beyond their best use date that you see in the grocery store. But the grocers, when they get close to that best use date, when they're too close to that March 10th, they're going to take that batch of, say, tomatoes and canned tomatoes, and they're going to donate it to a food bank. Or if you're a church that they're in harmony with, then they may, if you come by and say, if we are serving the homeless and we need some tomatoes for something that we're preparing, then they will probably sell it to you at a very, 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 very reduced cost because it's a best use day. And then that way you're able to get a deal. Sometimes the best use dates, those things that are close, are going to be the manager's special in the grocery store. So when you're getting that manager's special, two things can happen. He either got an overabundance of whatever that item is, or it's getting close to the best use date and he's trying to move those things out so that they're still able to be used by us, but we need to keep our eye on it. And we need to put those items close to the front in your pantry so you know that you don't want to get them too far back in the pantry and forget about them. You want to use them. Go ahead and use them. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I heard someone use this term. It said to take, they suggested that home cooks take part in meal train donations. Have you heard that term before? Meal train donations. Let me know in the chat box. Have you ever heard of meal train donations? I had never heard that term. Or they also said, how about donating to the community refrigerators? Now, I know everyone doesn't have a community refrigerator in their area, but I happened to be in a place last Wednesday. I told you that on Wednesdays that I am serving the homeless. And this past Wednesday, as we went downtown to serve the homeless, that there are community refrigerators that are placed in strategic places where people can go and donate items in the refrigerator. And so if someone is in need of particular things, they can go to the refrigerator, the community refrigerator, and they can pick up that item. Now, sometimes the community refrigerator, for instance, if you're now, of course, Meals on Wheels, you're making meals and you're taking it to various people who may need food. And not in need of food as far, I won't even say necessarily because they're short of money. It may be that their health is such that they can't get up and cook. They just need someone to prepare the meal for them. And so that's the advantage of Meals on Wheels, that you can take meals to various people. And there may be people in your church community. There may be people in your neighborhood community that may be in need of someone to prepare the meal. And so the meal train I had not heard of before, but I'm going to read over here because it looks like Michelle might have. Michelle says she knows of a meal train where people take turns taking meals to families with new moms and or someone who's had surgery or death in the family. You know, we have done that. I just never heard the term meal train. We just called it, we just got together, made a list and said, okay, so-and-so needs meals for the next 2 weeks. Who will volunteer to bring meals? And we signed up. We never gave it a term. So now I know there's a term. So I've learned my new term for the day, a meal train. And, but that is so nice. And so certainly taking meals to families with new moms, those who have had surgery, those who have had death in their family, all of us. Deb said that the meal train is also a sign-up service. Well, that I'll have to, let me put that on my list too to see, because I usually try to, if I know of someone who is sick or having surgery or some of those categories, then I usually try to provide a meal. So that's called the meal train. I like that. I like that. Okay. Deb said with the sign-up service, she said then the family knows what days a meal's coming. And it also gives you an opportunity to provide for food allergies. That's great. So I'm assuming they put those types of things into whatever that document is that's online. And then the people who sign up are able to work from there. Is that correct, Deb? And but those are certainly opportunities. But in the last few minutes, I'm going to have to give you, I'm laughing, and at the same time, I was shocked. Last week when we went, it was such a blessed time to be able to go and to serve the homeless. Okay, Deb said yes. And so it really was a blessed time to be able to do that. And if you ever have the opportunity to take the time and find a church that is serving, they're always in need of people to volunteer. And you don't necessarily have to cook. Usually they already have a group of people who will do the cooking, who have been approved by the Food and Drug Administration. You know, they come in, everything's checked. Let me tell you, it's a legit situation. And they have to be credited just like you would if you were a restaurant. And so the nice thing was that, you know, you see the homeless. We drive past sometimes people who are homeless, and but to see that number of homeless people was mind blowing. I'm going to say mind blowing, because I came back with a whole different perspective. And it makes you very grateful for the things that you have. Um, I've even already decided the grandkids are going. You know, I'd like to take them with me, and we serve, because I want them to see these were people that, as you talk to them, some of them were people just like you and I. They had careers, they had plans, they have degrees, all kinds of things that most normal people had. These people who were sitting there had once had and been, and something happened. Something devastated them, and in some cases, devastated their life, and changed them to such a point that, you know, prayerfully, they'll be able to get back to themselves and back out as functioning individuals. But to know that these people are living on the street every day is is heartbreaking, and it's hard to even think about. And so the irony was, the lady and I who were in charge of this ministry at church, we were talking, and you know, as we got back last Wednesday, and so Thursday morning we got on the phone, we did a Zoom call, and started to look at what we felt like was needed. You know, that included things like wipes. That included things that they could take with them. Our church has been donating all kinds of canned goods and all kinds of cereals and, you know, anything. And so, but now we need to hone that list to be more specific, because it never dawned on me not to take canned goods that didn't have a zip top. I just didn't think about that, because I've never been without a can opener. I really, it just almost gave me an upset stomach to think we handed out over 100 bags of food. And this was after they had been fed as they were leaving. And to think that we gave them things that maybe they might not be able to use. And so what I'm hoping is that perhaps in their travels that they may come across that somebody has a can that they whatever need. What it did, it made me rethink I've got a new donation bag over here by my refrigerator. I keep that. But when I went out to shop, it made me more intentional as I started to add things to that bag. So I added wipes, I added toothbrushes, I added toothpaste, I added zip things, I added things that didn't necessarily need microwaving, and I added pop tops to everything because it never dawned on me. I just thought, give them the canned goods and they'll be fine from there. But I learned today that I really, we were right. We needed to be more intentional with that. And so as you're thinking about things that you can do, um, there are people out there who are going through some things. I will probably, and to be honest with you, I don't want to know what they're really going through. I just want to be there to help where I can. And I want to make sure that the things that I'm doing are beneficial. And I want to be able to help somebody else. So as we think about those things, that includes when we're here at the lunch table, we want to be able to share with each other because we don't know what each other's going through. We don't know our story. You don't know my story. I don't know yours, really. And we want to be able to be as encouraging as we possibly can to each other. So I pray that your day is blessed. I pray that God brings someone into your path that you can make a difference to. And I pray that your week is blessed. Sorry, guys. That's where I was last week, and I just hadn't realized it hadn't passed. But I am thankful. I'm thankful for you. And I pray that we're all building our families, building our communities, so that should someone be within our community who needs that helping hand, because it doesn't take but a split second and you or I could be the one who's out here on the street. So let's work together to keep our community tight, if at all possible, and to keep our family close so that we're doing everything we can. And certainly we're doing what God intended for us to do. I love you all. And I hope that each and every day that it is blessed, that you know what you're doing and you're working your plan. So I will certainly see you later. We've got a lot to do during the month of March because we got to get spring freshness going on here in the kitchen. And that's what we're going to be working through. So enjoy yourselves. Go out, do something fun, and do something for someone else. Have a blessed week. I'll see you soon. And we'll be back here next Monday, right here at this lunch table. Don't forget to hit the like button. Love you. Mwah. See you soon.